Right, we'll move on, and then anyone else that comes in can just join. So, move on to your mats. And as always, we're just going to start by slowing the breath down. But what I'd like you to do is bring your bottoms of your feet together so your knees fall out to the side. And then just gently lower yourself down into a comfortable position. You might want to tweak your pelvis a little bit and just have your arms falling out to the side. It's just letting the knees fall out, making sure your lower back's nice and comfortable. And when you're ready, you can just close your eyes. So like we usually do, we're just going to breathe in through the nose and back out through the nose. And we're going to slow that breath right down, so inhaling all the way to the top and exhaling all the way to the end of the breath. We're going to count 10 breaths. So taking that breath all the way down into your belly. And just feeling your body soften when you exhale, just into the mat beneath you. So filling the chest, filling the stomach, and just noticing it all soften. And just removing any tension from your temples and your jaw, and your fingers and your toes. One more breath. Just going to gently bring the knees in so that our feet are on the floor and our knees are bent. We're going to lift the knees towards the chest and just place our hands on top of the knees so we can draw some circles. So circling outwards. Just breathing into the hips now, just releasing any tightness. And change direction. So you might notice one hip is tighter than the other, and that's fine. Good, bringing the knees together. And we're just going to hug the knees and just gently rock side to side, just to massage the lower back into the mat. And just start to loosen that up. Keeping your right knee up, we're going to take the left leg down so that it's straight or flat on the mat. And we're going to interlink the fingers and try and get your hands on the outside of your calf, because what we're going to do is we're going to encourage that knee towards your left shoulder, so the opposite shoulder. Try and keep your shoulders on the mat if you can. Nice deep breaths. Just gently releasing that leg, keeping it up though. We're going to take our two fingers on our right hand and pop them around the big toe. And we're just going to start to almost come into a happy baby position, but in one leg. So the knee stays bent, and we're pushing the heel up to the ceiling, still keeping that left leg down on the floor. One more breath. Okay, just gently bending that knee, bringing it back down. And then we're going to place that one on the mat so it's flat and straight, and then bring the left knee up towards us, so interlinking the fingers to the outside of the calf, and then pulling up towards our right shoulder. Again, keeping the shoulders relaxed on the mat. Just gently releasing the knee, and then taking the two fingers on the left hand and then wrapping them around the big toe on the left foot. Pushing the heel up to the ceiling. Try and keep a bend in that elbow as well. I'm definitely feeling that in my hamstrings today. One more breath. Just gently bending that knee, and then just bringing the knees back towards your chest. So we're going to take the arms out to the side now, and we're just going to let the knees fall over to the left and our head just fall over to face the right hand side. Inhale, bring the knees up to the middle. Exhale, let them fall over to the other side, and your head over to the left. So trying to keep that shoulder or both shoulders on the floor. Inhale, lift back to the middle. Exhale over. Inhale, lift. Exhale, over. We're going to do one more on each side. So inhale, lift. Exhale, over, and bring that top leg out straight as if you're trying to touch your fingers with your toes. Bring that leg back down to bend the knee. Inhale, back to the middle. Exhale, over, and then just straightening that top leg. So you're trying to touch your fingertips with your toes. Bringing that leg down and coming back to the middle. Just hugging the knees. Okay, we're going to take a little swing. So we're going to come up to a standing position, but we're just going to take a little rock to see if you can balance on the tailbone, lifting the feet overhead. And then whenever you're ready, it's coming up to a standing position at the top end of your mat. Just giving the legs a shake. So we're going to step our left foot to the back end of the mat. So we come into a wide stance. Just make sure your toes are slightly turned out. And we're just going to fold forward, placing our hands on the mat. So our forearms are facing the opposite direction of us, so facing forwards. So make sure you relax the neck as well. And when you're in this position, just think about bending your elbows. So it's going to start to pull you a little bit closer towards the floor. If you want to go a little bit further, you can start to walk the hands through the legs, just keeping a bend in the elbow. Keeping that neck relaxed. Nice deep breaths. gently straightening the arms, walking the hands back so we can start to lift the chest. And we're going to rotate to face the left side. So turning round, so our feet are now facing the back of the mat. So obviously there's a big gap between your feet, but if they were next to each other, they would be touching. So that centre line, I want you to keep that now. So there's a very narrow stance between your feet. What we're going to do is we're going to shift the weight into the front foot so we can free up the back one. And coming into pyramid pose. So again, thinking about that line down the middle, but you want both feet facing forward and both feet flat. You might want to adjust rocking them forwards and backwards. You should be feeling this in your hamstrings. If you can straighten that front leg, go for it. We're just going to relax forward. If you're feeling particularly tight, you can come up onto your thigh and lean forwards. But if you can, just place your hands on the mat and let the neck and the head relax, as if you're trying to touch that front knee with your nose. Just pressing the big toes into the mat. Just get those hamstrings switched on. One more breath. Gently lifting the head up. So we're going to drop the back knee so we come into a low lunge, keeping those back toes tucked under. We're going to lift the arms up overhead, interlink the fingers, and think about trying to lift your arms around your ears, so really squeezing and lifting up. Take a deep breath in as you lift up towards the ceiling. Exhale, ever so gently bend over to the right. Inhale back to the middle, lift. Exhale, over to the left. Inhale back to the middle. Exhale, drop the arms. Stay where you are. I'm going to turn around so you can see what we're doing next. So you'll be in this position. You're going to take your right arm and wrap it so it comes onto the outside of your left leg. You're going to clench your fist and pop them together so you've got a nice stable stance. So your back toes are still tucked under. We're going to stay here for a twist. And if you feel comfortable and balanced, we're going to lift the back leg up. If at any time you feel wobbly, just look to the floor by your foot. So we're starting to open up the chest, sending those elbows back. One more breath. Gently dropping the back knee and then releasing the hands. So come back to that wide stance. We're going to move over to the other side now. So we're facing the top of the mat. And we're going to move into pyramid on this side. So again, think about that nice line between the feet. Step the back foot forward so that it's flat, toes facing forward. Try and keep the legs as straight as possible. If you need to add a slight bend, that's fine. Either come up onto the thigh or come down onto the mat and relax the head and the shoulders. So think about taking your nose towards your knee. Pressing the big toes down. And that's a lovely hamstring stretch. One more breath. Just gently lifting the head and then stepping that back leg back so we can come down into our lunge, toes tucked under at the back. So lifting the arms up and then squeezing the arms to frame the ears. Inhale, lift. Exhale over to the right. Inhale, lift. Exhale over to the left. Inhale, come back to the middle. Exhale, let go of the arms. So we're going to do the twist. So your left hand this time is going to come to the outside of the right leg, clasping the fists. So we've got a twist, and then whenever you're stable, it's lifting that back leg. Again, looking to the floor if you need balance. Slowing that breath down. One more breath. Gently dropping that back knee. Releasing the hands. We're just going to pop them either side of that front foot, and we're going to step forward into a forward fold here. So just taking hold of the elbows and just relaxing the neck and the shoulders. You can add a slight bend in the knees if you need to. Gently releasing the elbows so our arms are just hanging, our neck is just hanging. Just bending the knees, and we're going to start to roll up to standing, just ever so slowly, all the way up. Just relaxing at the top. So we're going to move into our flow now. So I want you to inhale, lift towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold over. Bend the knees so you can place your hands on the floor, and we're going to step back to the back of the mat. Fingers spread nice and wide, and then pushing back into downward dog. It's just easing ourselves into the first downward dog of the flow. It's just walking through. You might have clicky ankles like me. Let the head hang, you might want to swing it side to side. Moving the hips, do what feels right. And just pushing the hands into the mat, sending the chest back towards the thighs. And we're going to step the right leg forwards in between the hands. And we're going to step the back leg just so it's turning outwards and we're not in a lunge position. So once you've got your stability, we're going to bring the arms backwards as we start to lift the chest. Lift the arms up above the head and lunge forward. So we are in warrior one. So try and keep the muscles here around your neck and shoulders relaxed. Send the shoulder blades down the back. Really lunging forward, but pushing that back foot away from us. Inhale, lift and straighten that front leg. Exhale, we're going to open the arms out either side of the body and lunge forward. On the exhale to warrior two. So again, relaxing the arms, try not to have them hunched, drop the shoulders. Think about creating space between the hips. Lunging forward. Inhale, straighten that front leg, arms come up. Exhale, keep that front leg straight, arms come out, down into triangle. So your right hand is on the inside of your right leg. Left arm is up in the air, and we're looking towards the left hand. So legs are straight. Inhale, lift the arms back up to the top. Exhale, back to warrior two. So really lunging forwards. And then we're going to windmill the hands and frame that front foot. Twist the back foot round so you can step back to downward dog. Inhale, come up onto your toes and roll through the spine. So we're coming into a high plank position. Exhale, either drop to the knees or slowly lower down to the mat. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Lifting the chest, hands into the mat, upward dog. Exhale, tuck the toes under, come back into downward dog. We're going to bend the knees and look towards the top of the mat, and we're either going to step or we're going to hop to come back into our forward fold position. Gently release the arms, and then we're just going to bend the knees and start to slowly unfold. Inhale, reaching up. I'm going to do the other side now. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, press the hands into the mat and step it back. And then into downward dog. So step back to high plank, send the hips up, downward dog. Couple of breaths here. Stepping the left foot forward this time, in between the hands, and then turning the right foot out for stability. Once you've got your balance, arms come behind as we lift the chest. So chest and arms come up at the same time, and hands are going to come up into warrior one. Inhale, lift to the ceiling, straighten that front leg. Exhale, open the arms out into warrior two, so lunging forward. Opening up those hips. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift the arms up. Exhale, keep the legs straight. Bring that left hand down to the inside of the left leg. Right hand up in the air, looking towards the right hand. So opening the chest in triangle. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, warrior two. So now bending the knee, lunging forwards. Relax the shoulders, shoulder blades, drop down the back. Windmill those hands, frame that front foot. Step the back foot to the back of the mat into downward dog. We're going to vinyasa flow back. So inhale, come up onto your toes, unroll through the spine, high plank. Exhale, drop to the knees or lower. Inhale, rocking forward, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. And keep that breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop the knees to the mat, but we're going to come into frog pose. So you can either stay long ways on your mat, or if your legs go quite wide, you can come out to the side. So your feet are going to come as wide as they will go, your knees, sorry. Keep your knees at a 90-degree angle and your feet are flexed, so your toes are facing forward. So we're creating space in the hips here, and then we're just going to come down onto the forearms, relaxing the neck. So we are going to stay here for 10 breaths. So if you feel like you can wiggle a little bit wider, go for it in those 10 breaths. But I really want you to focus on nice, slow, deep breaths. Just allow the hips to just open up. So breathing through that tightness, try not to hold the breath when you feel tight. Release any tension in your shoulders and your neck. 5 more breaths. Almost there. Keep a nice steady breath. So to move out of this position, we're just going to rock forwards and allow the feet to come off the floor and gently wiggle the legs back in. So what I'd like you to do is just place your hands on the mat so you can pop your head on your hands and just give your hips a shake. Just loosening up the lower back, letting the hips come back to where they want to be. Let the legs go like jelly for a moment. Okay, we're going to slowly move into a high plank position. So our hands are going to come underneath our shoulders. We're not going to stay here for too long. We're going to take our right foot up towards our left hand. So we're coming into pigeon. So again, make sure your toes are flexed, they're facing upwards. We're going to start to wiggle that back leg away from us. So we're creating space in the hips. Once you're nice and comfortable, you're going to come down onto your forearms. Again, relaxing the neck and the shoulders. Just feeling the outside of the hip and the glute release now. And again, we're going to be here for about 6 or 7 breaths. So nice, slow, long, deep breaths. Breathing into that tightness that you feel. If you want to go a little bit further, you can start to straighten the arms out and relax the head on the mat. Slowly lifting the head and walking the hands back towards the body. We're going to tuck the back toes under so we can lift that leg and step our front leg back into high plank. And then we're going to take the left foot up towards the right hand. So again, wiggling that back leg away. So we're creating space in the hip. And just coming down onto the forearms, relaxing the neck and the shoulders. If you want to go a little bit further, just walking those arms out, relaxing the head onto the mat.
Your device isn't sending you your location at the moment. Please
Alexa,
update your device location
stop.
settings in the Alexa app.
Sorry guys, Alexa likes to join in. One more breath. Just gently lifting the head, walking the hands back towards the body. Tucking the back toes under so we can lift the leg and coming back into high planks, just wiggling the legs. And we're going to step towards our hands, but we're going to have our feet nice and wide because then we're going to come down to a seated position on the mat. Just giving the knees a big hug now. And gently unwrapping the arms. And we're just going to ever so gently come down into a laying position. Just keeping the knees bent and take your feet as wide as the mat. Hands next to your body. And we're just going to let the knees fall from one side to the other. Just getting some movement back in the hips. And coming back to the middle, just giving the knees a hug, just gently rocking side to side, just massaging that lower back. So we're just going to move into our relaxation part now, guys. So just come to a comfortable laying position, whether that's with your knees bent and your feet on the floor, like we were when we started the session, with our knees out either side of the body. We're just taking the legs out, down towards the end of the mat. And whichever position you're in, just let your arms fall out either side of the body with your palms facing upwards. Just gently closing the eyes if they're not already. Just taking our focus back to the breath, as we did when we started. Breathing all the way in, down to the depth of our belly. Exhaling all the way down to the end of that breath. Pushing it down through the body as we breathe out through our nose. Just feeling the body soften, fall into the mat beneath us. So unclenching your jaw. You may want to wiggle it from side to side really gently. Just make sure your tongue is relaxed in your mouth. Just paying attention to your eyebrows, not holding on to anything there. Your temples. Even in your eyelids as well. You don't want them straining. Feeling the shoulders and the shoulder blades fall either side of the body. Our fingers are soft. Our knees are comfortable. You may want to add a little bend if they're not already. Just keeping that body soft all the way down to the toes. Find your mind starts to wander, just come back to your breath and just focusing on that rise and fall of the chest and the stomach. Just going to take our thoughts back to our day today. So with all the chaos that's going on at the moment, I'd like you to just acknowledge one action you did today for yourself. So it might have been going out for a walk, doing some exercise, maybe you spent some time with a book, or picked up on some jobs that you've been meaning to do. We're just going to acknowledge that little victory. paying attention to how we have been focusing our time and our energy. And how we're going to do it tomorrow as well. It's just coming up with one action and you're going to dedicate to yourself tomorrow. Something that benefits you. Coming back to the breath. I'm going to start to come back into the room, into our surroundings. So just gently wiggling the fingers and the toes. Just moving nice and slowly and bringing the knees back up towards the chest and just giving them a gentle hug. In your own time, just rocking onto the side. Just settling there for a moment. Keeping the eyes closed for now, we're just going to gently push ourselves up to a seated position. So just coming into a crossed legs. And sitting nice and tall. And just placing the hands on the legs. And just before we open our eyes, we're just going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And back out through the nose. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you very much, everyone. As always, it's been a pleasure. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you on Friday. Sorry.